All right, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Croissant, guys. It's happening! It's happening! The Elden Ring movie is upon us. Eventually, right? Bandai Namco and A24 have just announced that the Elden Ring movie is in the works. The director has been selected, and it is none other than Alex Garland. And Alex Garland is best known for his films Ex Machina. Love that movie. 2015. Annihilation 2018. I've never seen that one. He's also the co-writer on the video game Enslaved: Odyssey to the West. And I have seen that on Steam. I've been thinking about picking it up. It's been on sale, a few times. But it's good to know that he's got a little bit of gaming experience, at least writing for the game. Now, I have watched Ex Machina, like I said, and I think it's a phenomenal movie. It was nominated for an Oscar, and I'm not too familiar with his other works, like the more recent Civil War movie. It came out on Max a few years ago, but also Alex Garland has a brand new movie coming out. He's co-directing called Warfare. Right, so Warfare, Civil War. If you haven't noticed, he's kind of on like a war action kind of kick. And now he's going to be adding the Elden Ring movie to that arsenal. Now, there are literally no words on details on the movie, from cast to plot to release date. We just know it's coming. So, why not brainstorm about what the movie could be about, right? Come on. There are a few routes they can go down right off the bat. So, the first option could be go super serious and make it like a journey to get to like a big boss like Margit the Fell Omen, right, for example. And for the beginning of the movie, we get the character introduced, and we know nothing about them, right, except that they're tarnished and maidenless. And the first chunk of the movie is introducing just the main character, how mysterious they are, and like the journey that they're going to have to embark to eventually become like the Elden Lord or whatever the end goal of the movie is going to be. And meeting Melina, right, who's going to aid the main character and give them strength for runes for beating bosses, right? So the next chunk, I'm imagining like the main character, who's the player, right, will be going through like some cave dungeons or ever jails to face some cool bosses. But like, needless to say, this movie is going to have to kill it with set and costume design. But imagine, right, they're going through a cave and they're fighting those annoying imp gargoyle things, and they reach the fog wall, and they walk through to fight one of the burial watchdogs, right, those big ass cat statues that use swords and magic. Now the main character beats the watchdog or whatever boss you want to put there, returns to the Grace, right, to level up with Melina, and then we get like some sort of dialogue between the two, and this will act as sort of like a guide, guiding the narrative, giving the character like the next objective in this massive open world of Elden Ring that we know, right? And it's just like the game, where it's so big where you can just veer off on one path and completely miss the main course, the main story, just for 10 hours going into dungeons and things like that. So the last chunk of the movie could be facing Margit, and they could either have the player beat Margit in some epic battle, which would be cool, and the movie ends with like the player trekking towards Godric or like the next major boss, or right, the player gets killed by Margit and respawns at the Grace for the first time, and then they realize the cycle will continue like this, and the player will keep respawning until the job is done. And like, crap, I have to go fight this guy again. So it'll be play on like that dynamic and how the player kind of internalizes that reality. They can have this serious tone over the whole movie, revolving around like resilience and triumph over evil, or they could play it with like a lighter tone and play on like the hilarity that the player is dying over and over and over again, showcasing the reality that we all know too well, right? When it comes to these games, is you die a lot. And like the main character in the movie, like, it just keeps dying because they can't hit the dodge roll at the right time for that same boss and that same attack. They just keep messing it up, and we're like, come on! Everyone in the audience is just like begging the main character to hit the dodge roll right at the right time, but they keep getting one shot, right? Or there's a conversation with another character in Limgrave, and the main character is walking, and they're walking off a cliff, and they die to fall damage. and they respawn like at the Grace at the top of the cliff, and then they just continue the conversation like nothing happened. But another thought, it would also be interesting to see how they portray status effects, right? Like Frenzy and Scarlet Rot with CGI and kind of makeup effects. I'm very interested. They could also go more lore intensive, guys, right? And they can make this movie kind of like a backstory for major characters like Radagon or Marika. And we've all watched the Vati videos. We love Elden Ring lore. If you're watching this video, you probably watched the Vati video. I love the Elden Ring backstory, and I would also love this perspective. Or you could follow Ronnie or Radahn's story, right? One of the other kids through the Erdtree DLC for Radahn or something like that. But like I said earlier, set and costume design has to be on point, right, guys? Imagine the weapon and armor sets that we could possibly see in this movie, right? The Dark Moon Greatsword, the Moonveil Katana, right? Rivers of Blood, come on. And for armor, I mean, the Crucible Knight armor set is going to take the costume designers like a year or two just to make those sets. And that would be freaking epic. Now, another little thing I wanted to touch on was a promotional material for the movie, guys. This one's interesting. So, remember when the newest Dune movie came out? And they released those sussy sandworm popcorn buckets? So what if instead of the pocket wussy, right, they can make the popcorn bucket Alexander? Boom. $1 million idea. Great idea, no? Come on. They can have cardboard cutout of like Marga, a massive cardboard cutout of him for pictures, or like cutouts with some of the faces removed for like the Elden Ring fodder enemies, or have like a life-size torrent made out of plastic or materials or something for kids to take pictures with. And I know this is random, but I just thought of these and I thought they'd be pretty funny. But that's all I have for today, guys. I'm not a director or a screenplay writer or an expert in any of these things, but these are just like my immediate thoughts on the matter because I am hyped for this movie and I really have high hopes for it. And I'm just excited to see more Elden Ring because I just love Elden Ring so much. And with Night Rain around the corner and the Tarnished Edition coming out and now this movie, I just love to see Elden Ring so popular still, even so many years after it's been released. And that's it. Let me know in the comments, are you excited for the Elden Ring movie? How do you think the movie is going to go and who the plot is going to follow? Right? What do you prefer more, guys? Waffles or pancakes? Let me know. If I gotta make them, I'm gonna say pancakes because cleanup is easier and I don't have to clean that waffle iron. But if I can just spawn waffles, I would have them every day. Okay? As always, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.